Welcome to the Deep Dive, your direct line to the knowledge that matters. Today, we're navigating the really dynamic intersection of geopolitics, cutting-edge tech, and, the constantly shifting world of digital assets and AI. Just think about this. When that news broke, the ceasefire between Israel, Iran, and the U.S., well, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, saw a pretty noticeable price pump.
Yeah, it's quite striking, isn't it? Such a powerful, immediate reminder that even with this push for decentralization, global events still have these undeniable ripple effects.
Exactly. And it makes you think about, Satoshi Nakamoto's original vision for Bitcoin.
Right, this idea of separating money and state.
Yeah.
Yet here we are, watching its value swing based on, traditional political stability. It really highlights that while that ideal exists, the journey to fully realizing it, still unfolding.
That's a really crucial point to start with. So our mission today really is to unpack all of this for you. We're drawing insights straight from the sources you've shared with us. We want to give you that shortcut, help you get truly well-informed, get those important nuggets and surprising facts without feeling, overwhelmed. And we've got some fascinating stories lined up, like we'll explore a state's really innovative approach to creating a Bitcoin reserve.
From seized crypto, no less.
Exactly.
And we'll also dig into how some major U.S. banks are facing backlash, serious backlash, over alleged political discrimination, and sort of how Bitcoin might be emerging as a neutral alternative there.
Oh, interesting. Plus, we'll dive into a pretty significant step forward for Web3 adoption. There's a new Chainlink and MasterCard partnership.
Yeah, that was big.
And also the complex ongoing journey of a major crypto exchange trying to recover from a massive hack.
Right, the Virix situation. Yeah. And we also have some really innovative projects, like the world's first water-backed digital token coming out of Dubai.
Water-backed, okay.
Yeah. And Saudi Arabia taking some pretty proactive steps in global AI governance, adopting international standards.
What's compelling is how these things, they seem separate, but they're actually deeply connected. They paint a clearer picture of where the digital world is heading. So this deep dive, hopefully, will reveal those aha moments for you, showing why these shifts matter directly to you. Okay, let's unpack this. So we just mentioned how quickly global events, like that ceasefire, can send ripples through the crypto market. It really does make you reconsider Satoshi's original vision, doesn't it? This whole idea of money being separate from state influence.
Absolutely.
If it's designed to be detached, why react so sharply to, traditional geopolitics?
Well, that's the paradox we're seeing, right? While, sure, the price going up because of de-escalation might be good news for holders, it's also a stark reminder that the market is, far from fully insulated from those traditional global dynamics.
Right.
The journey towards that complete separation of money and state Satoshi envisioned, it's clearly still in its early stages. And the market's reaction, it isn't always just simple cause and effect. Sometimes it's broader de-risking, or maybe a flight to what's seen as safety even within crypto when traditional markets get shaky.
Okay, that makes sense. And speaking of states, let's look at Arizona. This development is really intriguing. They've passed this bill, HB 2324, building on earlier laws that lets the state create a Bitcoin and digital asset reserve. But what's really noteworthy is how they're funding it, entirely from seized cryptocurrencies from criminal cases.
Yeah, that's the unique part.
It raises a fascinating question, doesn't it? Could other states start doing this, turning confiscated crypto into a long-term state resource?
It's definitely a novel approach from Arizona, how they're repurposing those seized assets. The sources point out that, if victims can't be identified or if the transactions themselves were totally illegitimate, tied to crime, where giving it back isn't really possible. Then the state moving these assets into a reserve fund could offer some ongoing financial resilience and without needing to raise taxes.
Interesting.
It definitely sets a unique precedent for how states might handle and leverage digital assets down the road.
That's a really compelling point about integrating these assets into public finance. Okay, let's pivot a bit. Let's talk about another side of traditional finance. The backlash major U.S. banks like JP Morgan and Citigroup are facing right now.
Yes, the Wall Street Journal piece.
Yeah, the report says they're allegedly denying services to certain industries, fossil fuels, firearms, apparently due to political ideologies. And this has drawn significant criticism, particularly from Republican-led states like Texas, Oklahoma.
And this situation, it really shines a light on the growing appeal of systems like Bitcoin, distributed systems. Because unlike traditional banks, which can be swayed by political agendas or corporate policies or lobbying.
Sure.
Bitcoin's decentralized nature means it doesn't rely on central institutions or political favors. It just runs on a neutral protocol.
Right.
So this makes Bitcoin, and maybe even privacy coins like Monero, which are built to be almost untraceable, really stand out as censorship-resistant financial alternatives.
Yeah.
It really underscores that core value proposition, an independent financial system.
It certainly does. Reinforces that argument for neutral financial infrastructure. And speaking of financial systems, let's look at how Web3 isn't just an alternative, but it's actively integrating with the existing financial world. Some really significant partnerships happening. We're seeing this major collaboration between Chainlink and MasterCard. The goal is to let billions of cardholders buy crypto directly on-chain.
Yeah.
This isn't just making it easier to buy, it feels like embedding it right into the global financial ecosystem.
It really does represent a crucial bridge, doesn't it, between TradFi and the digital asset economy. You have MasterCard's massive global reach combined with Chainlink's, frankly, robust infrastructure, especially their cross-chain interoperability protocol, CCIT.
It's CIP, right.
Yeah, that provides a secure, reliable way to convert fiat into crypto directly on-chain. And CCIP is proving to be a bit of a game changer because it lets different blockchains talk to each other and transfer value securely. It's like creating an internet of blockchains.
Okay.
This level of secure interoperability, it's a huge step towards mainstream Web3 adoption. It offers a whole new level of accessibility and efficiency.
That sounds like a pretty fundamental shift in how people might interact with digital assets eventually. Now let's touch on the more challenging side of crypto. Recovering from a massive hack, Varix Exchange got hit for, $235 million about a year ago?
Things around that.
And this was despite having a multi-signature wallet, which is interesting because multi-sig is supposed to be much more secure, right? It needs multiple keys.
Exactly. That's the theory.
So how does a system built for that kind of high security still fail so spectacularly? And what does recovery even look like after something like that?
Well, the Varix hack really highlights a critical point about security layers in DeFi. Even strong crypto controls can be bypassed if the operational security underneath is weak.
Like phishing or someone inside?
Precisely. Phishing, internal collusion, things like that. So Varix, they've managed to get more time from a Singapore court to present their restructuring plan. They got a moratorium basically stopping creditors from taking action for now.
Okay.
And apparently, over 93% of creditors actually support their plan. It involves moving operations to Panama and aiming to issue these things called on-chain IOUs.
On-chain IOUs, what are those exactly?
They're essentially digital IOUs recorded on the blockchain. They represent the debt owed. The idea is users could reclaim up to maybe 75–80% of their hacked balances through these. And the on-chain part is important because it brings transparency and potentially allows for secondary markets. Users might be able to trade these recovery claims.
Ah, I see. So there's some potential liquidity there.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But, legal delays and just general uncertainty still persist. It's frustrating for the, over 6 million users affected?
Yeah, must be incredibly frustrating. It's a complex, often painful situation, really shows the unique challenges of asset recovery in this new landscape. But while some are struggling with recovery, others are pushing the boundaries of what digital assets can even represent, moving beyond finance to really innovative uses.
Yeah.
Let's look at Dubai, this ambitious venture. The DMCC, that's Dubai's big commodity trade hub. They've signed an agreement with a company called Aqua Index to support launching the world's first water-backed digital token.
Water-backed, it sounds almost sci-fi, doesn't it? But it's happening. It's a pretty remarkable development, introducing water as a tradable, investable commodity, but in digital form.
How does that even work? Is it backed by actual water?
Yeah, apparently the token is backed by verified drinking quality fresh water stored in reservoirs around the world. The goal seems to be revolutionizing how water is traded, valued, managed globally, trying to bring more transparency and liquidity to global water supply chains.
Which historically hasn't really existed, right? A mature global market for water.
Exactly. It's lacked that.
Right.
So this initiative tries to fill that gap. Now, DMCC themselves, they won't own or manage the token directly, but their support for Aqua Index, and they're setting up a new water center in Dubai. It's all designed to position the city as a global hub for water innovation.
Wow, a truly tangible asset backing a digital token. It's fascinating how we're digitizing something as fundamental as water.
Okay, finally, let's shift gears slightly to artificial intelligence. Saudi Arabia is making some significant moves here.
Yes, they are.
The Saudi Data for Artificial Intelligence Authority, SDAIA, has joined the OECD recommendation on artificial intelligence. That makes them one of the top 10 non-OECD members to adopt this international standard for AI governance. And this move, it really positions Saudi Arabia as a proactive, influential player in shaping responsible AI governance globally. By adopting the OECD standards, they're not just saying we comply. They're actively trying to promote innovation and build trust, using a solid framework for ethical AI practices.
Oh, it's part of their bigger picture, their Vision 2030.
Absolutely. Their Vision 2030 goals for AI are pretty comprehensive. They're blending ethics, regulations, innovation. They've launched an AI observatory focused on Arabic. They're involved in the UN high-level advisory body on AI.
Okay.
And they've even established the International Center for AI Research and Ethics, ICARE, in Riyadh under UNESCO. It's a collective effort that's really establishing them as a significant voice in global AI policy.
That shows a very clear intent to lead in the responsible development of AI. Wow. What an illuminating deep dive today. We've really covered a tremendous amount, haven't we? From, the immediate impact of geopolitics on crypto prices
Right back to the start.
to these groundbreaking innovations and the evolving regulations. We looked at the growing political relevance of crypto, its potential as that neutral financial alternative.
Especially with those traditional banking controversies bubbling up.
Exactly. And that ongoing drive for Web3 adoption, like the Chainlink and MasterCard partnership.
We also touched on the tough side, the unique challenges of asset recovery in DeFi with the Varix case, and then the emergence of these totally new, tangible asset-backed tokens, like Dubai's water token. Quite something.
It really is.
And of course, Saudi Arabia's proactive and significant steps in shaping responsible AI governance globally.
So when you put it all together, what does it all mean? These diverse developments, Arizona using seized crypto for reserve, water-backed tokens in Dubai, they seem to reflect this global pivot, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing digital assets and AI getting integrated into traditional frameworks.
Or, in some cases, offering pretty compelling alternatives to them.
Yeah. And it's fascinating just watching these contrasting visions play out. You have Satoshi's ideal separation of money and state.
And then you have governments actively getting involved, utilizing these same assets.
It really shows the long journey ahead for those original ideals, doesn't it?
Indeed. It's a complex, dynamic dance, really, between the tech innovation, the regulations trying to catch up, and just global power dynamics. It's reshaping our economic and maybe even social structures.
It absolutely is. All of this makes you considering the diverse, sometimes conflicting ways governments and corporations are engaging with digital assets, seizing them, building reserves, excluding industries, partnering up for adoption. What do you think is the biggest long-term challenge or maybe opportunity for individuals just trying to navigate this rapidly evolving digital economy? We'll leave you with that thought.